I am absolutely psyched for 1.0, so I apologize for all these videos speculating about it, but it's all I can think about, and yesterday Snut released some more information about 1.0, and I'm surprised no one's picked up on a few of these things that they've shown off. So we'll be talking about them today, but first I did want to touch on why I believe this particular building is the quantum encoder. Now, last week in stream, Bitz, the community, and I were talking about how the main building in the 1.0 teaser trailer looked very similar to the original quantum encoder. So I thought we'd check out the pre-release content that was revealed in previous trailers, as well as the information posted on the wikis and covered by the Satisfactory community managers in a video previously. I'm also going to start the video by saying that Bitz recently posted a video on this, and if you haven't watched it, you should. I'll put a link in the description below to it. He's a great friend and creates fantastic content on both YouTube and Twitch that's well worth checking out. Now, as we're going to be delving into files that have been data mined at early access launch, we'll need to take the following information with a pinch of salt. Some of these things may have made it to the game with little changes, such as the Hadron Collider, which we received an update for as the particle accelerator, and other items that we'll talk about may have been scrapped altogether. So, what is the quantum encoder? Well, you can see it in the original trailer here, but if we compare the models, notice how these fins rotate back and forth around the machine, similar to the building here in the trailer. It's also familiar in shape, making them seem awfully similar. So if this is the case and it is actually the quantum encoder, what does it do? Well, checking out the post in the wiki, it is used to create the quantum crystal and the superposition oscillator, which is confirmed from the most recent video, as you can see it on the outer belt, which we'll talk about shortly. Also, the quantum crystal is used in the production of superposition oscillators as well, but who knows if that's still intended. Looking at the items on the belt in the first trailer, it is clear that it doesn't look like a crystal or the superposition oscillator to me. So I'm actually thinking that perhaps the trailer's displaying a new recipe, where we need to encode quantum computers with whatever this is, and the fact we see quantum computers heading into it definitely suggests it is related to quantum production. Also, a quick side note is that we shouldn't disregard the potential renaming of things like the quantum computer. After all, it looks like they renamed dark matter to nuclear pasta, although it could just be a different item that looks, well, pretty much the same. So it is a possibility. So in that case, what if they decided to rename what we know as the quantum computer to something like quantum computer casings, which are then combined in the quantum encoder to produce a new item called the quantum computer? I know, another big speculation, but Bitz also mentioned in his video that you can see what looks to be the quantum computer being produced in the manufacturer's animation, and I agree with him totally. But I'd actually go so far as to say we now have proof of this, because it looks like we have the quantum computer item being outputted on a line coming from several manufacturers in the most recent video posted yesterday. Now, returning to the quantum encoder, if it is the quantum encoder, it brings up another question, specifically what is this pink gas that's being outputted from the encoder? And yes, I do say gas because the pipeline looks like it has the grey cloud similar to the nitrogen gas. And previously I have speculated that it could be one of two things. Firstly, it could be a new gas used in industrial applications, such as helium or hydrogen, which can both be used in cryogenics, or it could be refined from SAM ore. Now, my reasoning around this is that the SAM ore nodes glimmer green, pink, and orange, which just so happen to be the same color as the three new base resources we see in the trailer. The pink gas we have here, the green liquid or gas and these orange ingots. Now the problem with this is that the machine is outputting this pink resource, which makes it being an industrial gas more probable, as we could have a liquid helium or hydrogen used up in the process of encoding items, expelling gas once used. This also makes sense as quantum computers do need to maintain a constant low temperature to retain their quantum states. But let's go down the rabbit hole and say it is SAM-OR related. Then how would it relate to the quantum encoder? Well, looking through the items data mined, there is one that could tie the two together, the SAM fluctuator. Originally, it was planned to be unlocked in Tier 9, which is now confirmed, and was used in the construction of the remote storage and converter buildings. But if we look up a fluctuator in relation to physics, you'll see that it is a quantum system where an electric charge fluctuates between two states. So perhaps SAM-OR could be used in quantum production after all. Unfortunately, we do not have a skin for this item, so we have no idea how this might look, but who knows, perhaps this is still planned for 1.0, or maybe even we're looking at it right now. Now, let's look a little more in detail at yesterday's video. Obviously, we've already talked about it a little bit, but they have given us some more tidbits. Firstly, we have Tier 9 confirmed, which we speculated in our previous videos. And more importantly, we know that there are at least 2 space elevator parts. The item we saw in the first teaser can be seen going into the space elevator, and Snut mentioned that there were a couple of space elevator parts in the last video.
It will feature some new buildables as well as a bunch of new recipes for you to be able to craft the final couple of space elevator parts.
Perhaps it's the item that we can see here. Now looking at the screenshot here, we can also see that the pink resource is run into this buffer and then back past the quantum encoder, judging by the bridges just behind it. Now from there, it looks like it goes up into the buffer above, but we can also see that the gas goes up towards the particle accelerator, so perhaps it's being used there as well as one of the new recipes. In this shot, we can also see clearly the new barrier. Again, I do think we have a second barrier or beam type on top of this, which we'll see later. And to cover what's on the belts, because it is quite important, we can break something down from this. We have the new space elevator item, which is being produced at the quantum encoder. We also have the superposition oscillators, which I assume are being used to produce the space elevator part. And then at the back, we have the electromagnetic rods, the versatile framework, as well as the quantum computers and what I believe are AI limiters. And then the last thing that we see on the belts is the magnetic field generators. But the interesting thing here is it looks like it's coming from the assembler, which means there's either a rework of the original recipe as it's built in the manufacturer, or it's an alternate recipe. Now, the last thing to say in this shot is that we can see the secret building once again, but with even less to see, it's more difficult to make any speculations about. Now, moving on, Coffee Stain have confirmed that their current last tier space elevator requirements will be reduced substantially. And finally, after announcing their holiday period, we have a glimpse of Project Assembly, which was teased in the very first trailer of Satisfactory, so perhaps we'll get to see it built and even check out the food court that's up there after all. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this breakdown and further speculating, and are excited for what's coming in the next few weeks. And if you would like to speculate with me some more, or tell me what you think, do join me over on twitch.tv/Totalxclipse on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. But until next time, guys, special thanks does go to all of our amazing supporters on Patreon, notably our SoloClipse patron Firefless, as well as our Lunars, The Calamity, Ben, and Star, and our Blood Moon of the Day, which today is the Souchan Husky. Until next time, As always, ciao for now.